Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Jimmy Durante, the beloved Schnozzola, who became an American icon few entertainers have left as warm, joyful, and unmistakable a mark on American culture as Jimmy Durante. With his gravelly voice, exuberant personality, and famously large nose, affectionately called the Schnozzola, Durante became one of the most recognizable figures in 20th century entertainment. Spanning vaudeville, radio, film, and television, his career reflects both the evolution of American show business and the enduring power of genuine charm. Early life and humble beginnings. Jimmy Durante was born James Francis Durante on February 10, 1893, in New York City's Lower East Side to Italian immigrant parents. Growing up in a bustling, diverse neighborhood, he was exposed early to music, comedy, and streetwise creativity. He took piano lessons as a child, eventually dropping out of school to pursue music full-time. Durante began his career playing ragtime piano in bars and cafes. His natural charisma immediately drew attention, but it was his unique comedic style, good-natured self-deprecation, malapropisms, and rapid-fire delivery that made him unforgettable. Rise through vaudeville and radio. By the 1920s, Durante teamed up with Eddie Jackson and Lou Clayton to form the comedy and musical trio Clayton, Jackson and Durante. The group became a major vaudeville act, known for its energetic performances and Durante's comedic ad-libs, which often derailed the scripted routine to the audience's delight. Durante's success translated seamlessly to radio, where his distinctive voice, raspy, warm, and unmistakably his, made him a household name. His catchphrases, including, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash," "Wherever you are," "Umbriago," "Ha-cha-cha-cha," became part of American pop culture. Hollywood stardom. During the 1930s and 40s, Jimmy Durante became a sought-after comedy star in Hollywood. He appeared in films such as Palooka, 1934, The Man Who Came to Dinner, 1942, Singin' in the Rain, 1952, cameo as himself, It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, 1963. One of his most famous latter-day roles, though rarely cast as a traditional leading man, he stole scenes with his lively humor, musical talent, and lovable persona. Television staple and later career. In the early days of television, Durante became a familiar face through The Jimmy Durante Show, where his comedic timing and musical performances translated perfectly to the new medium. His blend of slapstick, warmth, and spontaneous humor made him a crowd favorite. Durante also became known for his heartfelt performances, including the beloved holiday recording, Frosty the Snowman, 1950, which continues to charm new generations each year. A heart of gold. What made Jimmy Durante so special was not just his comedic brilliance but his sincerity. Whether performing live or on screen, he radiated warmth and humility. His signature farewell, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are," became a sentimental mystery that fans still discuss today. Durante later explained it as a dedication to his late wife, reflecting his deep sense of love and nostalgia. Legacy of the Schnozzola. Jimmy Durante passed away on January 29, 1980. But his influence lives on. His voice remains iconic. His catchphrases still spark a smile, and his comedic style continues to inspire performers across generations. He was, above all, an entertainer who made people feel good. With a piano, a joke, and an unforgettable personality, Jimmy Durante brought laughter to millions and solidified his place as one of America's most cherished entertainers. Jimmy Durante, America's unmistakable voice of laughter and heart. Jimmy Durante remains one of the most beloved figures in American entertainment history, a man whose gravelly voice, oversized charisma, and even larger nose made him instantly recognizable. From the bustling vaudeville halls of the early 1900s to television screens in the 1950s and the enduring magic of his holiday recordings, Durante carved out a legacy defined by warmth, humor, and authenticity. Early life. A New Yorker by heart and spirit, James Francis Durante was born on February 10, 1893, in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, a melting pot of cultures, immigrants, and street performers. The son of Italian parents, Bartolomeo and Rosa Durante, young Jimmy absorbed the lively atmosphere of the city. He learned piano as a child and quickly proved adept at the syncopated rhythms of ragtime. His distinctive style, energetic, loud, and full of personality, reflected the entertainer he would one day become. After leaving school in the 8th grade, he began playing piano professionally in saloons, cafes, and dance halls, gaining a small but devoted following. Vaudeville triumph. Clayton, Jackson and Durante. By the 1920s, Durante had joined forces with performers Eddie Jackson and Lou Clayton. Their trio, Clayton, Jackson and Durante, became a vaudeville sensation. Durante's spontaneous ad-libs, comic interruptions, and improvisational piano riffs often stole the show. His style was unlike anything seen before, part slapstick, part musicality, all fueled by his boundless energy. His enormous nose, which he humorously called the Schnozzola, became a comedic trademark that made audiences adore him all the more. The trio's success led them to Broadway revues, nightclubs, and eventually the airwaves. Commanding the radio waves, radio proved to be the perfect medium for Jimmy Durante's booming personality. His gravelly voice cut through the static, and his comedic timing translated beautifully. His radio shows in the 1930s and 40s cemented him as a national icon. Listeners tuned in not only for jokes but also for his heart. Durante had a way of making every audience member feel like he was speaking directly to them. His catchphrases became part of the American lexicon. Ha-cha-cha-cha. Everybody wants to get into the act. I got a million of 'em. And, of course, good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are. His radio success launched him into Hollywood stardom at a time when few radio comedians made the transition so effortlessly. Hollywood stardom. A scene stealer in every era, Durante appeared in dozens of films from the 1930s through the 1960s, both as a comedy headliner and a charismatic supporting player. Notable films: The Wet Parade, 1932, Broadway to Hollywood, 1933, Palooka, 1934, You're in the Army Now, 1941, The Man Who Came to Dinner, 1942, a standout performance, Two Girls and a Sailor, 1944, The Great Rupert, 1950, It's a Mad World, 1963, memorable even in a star-packed cast, though rarely the romantic lead. He didn't need to be, his charisma lit up every frame. His slapstick style, expressive face, comedic confidence, and musical performances made him a natural entertainer. A television pioneer, television extended his career into yet another era. The Jimmy Durante Show, 1954 to 1956, showcased his talents to millions of homes across America. Whether singing, dancing, joking, or improvising, Durante kept the lively vaudeville spirit alive during TV's golden age. He also guest-starred on numerous variety shows, collaborating with stars such as Frank Sinatra, Eddie Cantor, and Milton Berle. A heartfelt music career beyond comedy, Jimmy Durante was a gifted and emotional musician. His style blended humor with sincerity, making him capable of delivering both upbeat novelty songs and sentimental ballads. Signature musical moments: Frosty the Snowman, 1950, His iconic narration and vocals remain a holiday tradition. As time goes by, his gravelly, tender rendition introduced younger generations to his voice. Make Someone Happy, perhaps his most touching performance, symbolizing his legacy of kindness. His musical recordings, especially those later in life, revealed a gentler, vulnerable side, deepening his image as an entertainer with a huge heart. Personal life and the mystery of Mrs. Calabash. Jimmy Durante married twice. His first wife, Jean Olson, passed away in 1943. He later married Margie Little, and together they adopted a daughter, Cecilia. The identity of Mrs. Calabash puzzled fans for decades. Durante eventually revealed it referred to Jean, his first wife, a loving tribute he delivered every time he signed off the air. The phrase has since become one of the most iconic farewells in entertainment history. Legacy of laughter, love, and humanity. Jimmy Durante passed away on January 29, 1980, at the age of 86. However, his spirit continues to shine. His comedic trademarks inspire comedians and performers to this day. His songs remain staples during the holiday season and beyond. His catchphrases, voice, and joyful demeanor endure in pop culture. His reputation as one of entertainment's warmest souls remains unchallenged. Above all, Durante showed that success isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. With his raspy voice, twinkling eyes, and unmistakable Schnozzola, he reminded audiences to laugh freely, love deeply, and make someone happy. Further expansion. The world and legacy of Jimmy Durante. A master of the misplaced word. One of Jimmy Durante's signature comedic weapons was his joyful misuse of language. Long before modern comedians perfected the art of wordplay, Durante was crafting hilarity out of malapropisms, unintentionally wrong words that were funnier than the correct ones. His delivery made these mistakes charming, not foolish. He was never laughing at someone, he invited the audience to laugh with him. His spontaneous vocal outbursts, like "Ha cha cha cha" or "Dat's a my boy that done it," were pure personality, a kind of comedic music that became inseparable from his identity. The Schnozzola persona. A star built on self-deprecation. Durante took what others might have viewed as a flaw, his famously large nose, and turned it into a comedic centerpiece. Instead of hiding it, he celebrated it. "My nose isn't big. I just happen to have a very small head. My nose isn't a nose, it's a tourist attraction." These jokes helped audiences see him as approachable, humble, and lovable. In an age when many performers were trying to appear glamorous, Durante leaned into authenticity. His self-awareness made him relatable and endeared him to millions. Collaborations with entertainment legends. Jimmy Durante was a magnet for talent, working with some of the biggest names in show business across multiple decades. Frequent collaborators included Buster Keaton. Their vaudeville-style double acts were audience favorites. Eddie Jackson, a lifelong friend and performing partner. Lou Clayton, who helped shape Durante's early comedic persona. Frank Sinatra, whom Durante affectionately called Junior. Gary Moore. Durante became a mentor and comic foil. Abbott and Costello and Red Skelton shared stages and radio appearances. During these collaborations, he often played the role of the kind-hearted, bumbling comic, energetic, unpredictable, but always warm. A pop culture presence that never faded even after his passing. Jimmy Durante's voice and image continued to shape entertainment. Holiday icon. His narration of Frosty the Snowman in the 1969 Rankin-based TV special remains a cherished holiday tradition. Generations who never saw his films still recognize his warm, gentle voice. Film and TV tributes. Durante is referenced or impersonated in The Simpsons, Animaniacs, Family Guy, Saturday Night Live sketches, Woody Allen films. His voice, raspy, affectionate, and instantly recognizable, became a comedic archetype. Durante the humanitarian. Though famous for comedy, Durante was equally respected for his generosity. He performed in countless charity fundraisers and hospital events, believing entertainers had a duty to uplift others. He also co-founded the Jimmy Durante Children's Fund, supporting children's hospitals and education initiatives. His philosophy was simple: be kind, treat people like you want to be treated, live a life that makes someone happy. This attitude infused everything he did, strengthening his legacy far beyond entertainment. A performer who spanned 5 eras of entertainment, Durante's extraordinary career lasted over 60 years, rare for any entertainer. He thrived in every major entertainment format of the 20th century. Vaudeville, the bustling live circuit where he built his early fame; silent films, where his exaggerated expressions stole scenes; radio, where his voice became the star; Hollywood sound films, where his charisma fit perfectly; television, where he charmed a whole new audience. Few artists transitioned so successfully between mediums. He didn't adapt to entertainment, entertainment adapted to him. The enduring love for Jean, Mrs. Calabash Durante. Jimmy Durante's devotion to his first wife, Jean, remained one of the most moving aspects of his life. When Jean became ill, Durante left the stage for months to care for her. After her passing, he honored her every night with the now legendary "Goodbye, good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are." This closing line became one of the most famous sign-offs in American entertainment history, intimate, poetic, and full of soul. Final years. A gentle fade from the spotlight. Though heart problems slowed him down in the 1960s and 70s, Durante never lost his passion for performing. He continued acting in commercials, recording music, and making special appearances well into his 80s. Even as his mobility declined, his spirit remained bright. Friends and fans often described him as a man who radiated warmth, humor, and genuine affection until the end. Conclusion. Why Jimmy Durante still matters. Jimmy Durante wasn't just a comedian. He was a national treasure who represented the best of American entertainment. Joyful, unpretentious, compassionate, utterly original in a world that often rewarded perfection, Durante showed that heart mattered more than polish. His humor never punched down. His music was full of sincerity, and his presence made audiences feel like friends. His legacy continues not just in films, recordings, and holiday specials, but in the millions of smiles he created, and continues to create. An even fuller portrait of Jimmy Durante, the soul of American entertainment, the heart of immigrant America. Jimmy Durante's life story mirrors the broader narrative of early 20th century America. Born to Italian immigrants in one of New York's most densely populated neighborhoods, Durante belonged to a generation that helped shape the country's cultural identity. His style, loud, expressive, emotional, warm, carried the spirit of the Italian-American experience. He embraced his roots openly at a time when many immigrants tried to assimilate by hiding their heritage. His accent, his musical flair, and his comedic bravado were part of a new American identity, bold, diverse, and humorous. The ragtime pianist behind the comedian before he became famous for comedy. Jimmy Durante was celebrated for his ragtime piano. His playing was distinctive, rhythmic, punchy, percussive, full of flourishes and rolling bass lines played with the energy of a live street performance marked by sudden comedic interruptions. With his voice, he wasn't merely a comedian who played piano, he was a serious musician who innovated with timing. His interruptions, shouts, and improvised jokes over the music were groundbreaking. Modern musical comedians like Victor Borge, Jerry Lee Lewis, And even contemporary YouTubers owe something to this early blend of music and humor. Physical comedy. Chaotic yet controlled, Durante's physical comedy was deeply rooted in vaudeville tradition. His movements were exaggerated yet precise, slapping his palm to his chest, leaning forward at impossible angles, or stomping across the stage with oversized gestures. He often played characters who seemed disorganized or confused, but his timing was razor sharp. His comedy had surprise escalation, controlled chaos, audience engagement, self-aware theatricality. He could turn simply entering a room into a laugh, using his posture, face, and voice like instruments. A comedian with a poet's heart. Perhaps the most remarkable part of Jimmy Durante's artistry was the contrast between his boisterous comedy and his surprisingly tender emotional expression. When he delivered sentimental material, songs like "Make Someone Happy" or quiet lines in films, his rough voice somehow made the emotion more authentic, not less. He sounded like someone who had lived, laughed, loved, and endured. This emotional honesty set him apart from many comedians of his era, who often hid vulnerability behind the joke. Durante embraced it. Influence on modern comedy and media. Jimmy Durante's fingerprints can still be seen across the entertainment landscape. 1. Catchphrase-based comedy. His signature lines became part of his persona, influencing Groucho Marx, Jackie Gleason, Mel Blanc, voice of Bugs Bunny, and others. Later on, Robin Williams and Billy Crystal. They understood that a recurring phrase builds audience connection. 2. Breaking the fourth wall. Durante often spoke directly to the audience, on stage, on radio, and even in films. He winked, he paused, he joked about the script itself. This technique was ahead of its time and later became foundational in TV comedy. 3. Self-deprecating humor. Before it became a common comedic form, Durante made himself the comic target. He celebrated his flaws, especially his nose, with pride and humor. 4. Character voice comedy. His unusual voice set a template that comedians and animators still use to create exaggerated comedic characters, especially in cartoons. Behind the scenes stories and anecdotes. He never refused an autograph. Friends said Durante would stop in the street, even in the rain, to sign autographs, always smiling, always warm. The time he accidentally outshined a film star during one movie shoot in the 1940s. Durante improvised so many jokes during a dramatic scene that the director had to reshoot it multiple times because the crew kept laughing loudly off camera. His kindness to young performers. Durante was known for helping young talent get stage time or recommending them to producers. He believed the industry had helped him, and he wanted to send the elevator back down. He insisted on performing for soldiers. During World War II, he frequently entertained troops, sometimes visiting multiple camps in a single day. A legacy carried by generations who never knew him. Perhaps the most magical aspect of Durante's legacy is that millions who never saw him live still feel his presence. This is due to holiday specials, classic film reruns, his songs, especially in movies and commercials, cartoon tributes and impressions, the warmth of his voice, which transcends time. His rendition of "Make Someone Happy" is still used at weddings, film endings, and anniversary events. His voice has become a symbol of nostalgia, joy, and heartfelt emotion. Why Jimmy Durante endures. Jimmy Durante represents the rarest kind of entertainer, one whose charm is not tied to an era, but to humanity itself. He made people laugh without cruelty. He expressed love without embarrassment. He was joyful but never shallow. He was silly but never foolish. He connected with audiences as if they were lifelong friends. More than anything, he embodied the belief that entertainment should uplift the human spirit. And that is why Jimmy Durante still matters.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.